Today I have a story that just might change the way you see love, trust, and the person lying next to you at night. It all began on what felt like a completely normal Thursday evening, until a message popped up on my husband's phone. One innocent glance turned into a spiral I never saw coming. What I uncovered wasn't just a lie. It was an entirely separate life. A secret so well hidden it made me question everything: our marriage, our memories, even myself. What happened next? It all came crashing down in front of everyone. This isn't just a story, it's a wake-up call. The room was dimly lit as I sat by the window waiting for him. My husband, my rock, the man I thought I knew. That night felt different, colder, heavier. My phone buzzed with a notification. A message from an unknown number. Curiosity turned to dread as I opened it. A photo of him with another woman, laughing, holding hands. My heart pounded as secrets unraveled, each revelation sharper than the last. I couldn't breathe. Just then, the door creaked open and he walked in, unaware that his double life was shattered. Tears blurred my vision as I whispered, "How long?" He froze. The clock struck midnight and silence blanketed the house like a suffocating veil. I sat by the window, my hands trembling as I clutched the phone, the image burning into my mind. It wasn't just the betrayal, it was the smile on his face, the tenderness in his eyes that I thought was reserved only for me. My mind spun with 1,000 thoughts, each one more painful than the last. I traced the edges of the photo with my fingertip, almost willing it to disappear, hoping it was some cruel joke, but it wasn't. It was real. My husband, my loving, devoted husband, was living a life I knew nothing about. I tried to piece together the fragments of our years together, searching for signs, hints, anything that might have warned me. Nothing made sense. How could he lie so effortlessly, come home to me every night, kiss me with the same lips that whispered promises to another woman? A shiver ran down my spine as I glanced at the clock again. He was late, unusually late. I stared at the door, half expecting him to walk in with that charming smile, his arms open wide to pull me into a hug. But tonight that thought made my stomach turn. I bit my lip to stifle a sob, unsure whether I wanted him to walk in or just vanish forever. The phone vibrated again, jolting me back to reality. Another message appeared, a video this time. My hands quivered as I pressed play, my heart pounding like a war drum. The camera shook as someone followed them down a dimly lit alley, her laughter echoing in the background. He wrapped his arm around her waist, and they stopped to kiss under a flickering streetlight. I gasped, the air knocked out of me as I sank to the floor, the phone slipping from my grasp. I pressed my palm to my mouth, trying to contain the scream clawing at my throat. Anger boiled within me, mingling with heartbreak and betrayal. How long had this been going on? Who was she? Why did I feel like the ground was giving way beneath my feet? Just then, the door creaked open. My heart skipped a beat as he stepped inside, looking exhausted. He set his briefcase down, glanced at me, and froze. There was something in my expression that made his confident demeanor falter. "You're home late." I managed, my voice brittle and cold. He hesitated, then forced a smile. "Yeah, long day at the office. You okay?" A bitter laugh escaped me before I could stop it. "Am I okay?" I repeated, my voice trembling. "Why don't you tell me how your day was?" He frowned, clearly, sensing that something was off. "What's going on?" I picked up the phone and tossed it onto the coffee table, the video still playing. His face drained of color as he saw it, his eyes widening in shock. For a moment I almost pitied him, caught off guard, vulnerable. But then I remembered the kiss, the laughter, and the lies. "Who is she?" I demanded, my voice cracking. He opened his mouth, but no words came out, just a strangled sound that infuriated me more. "You can't even say her name, can you?" I continued, my anger boiling over. "After all these years, this is how it ends, with you sneaking around like some coward." He reached for me, but I stepped back. "Don't," I hissed. "Don't touch me." His shoulders slumped, and he dropped onto the sofa, burying his face in his hands. "I didn't mean for this to happen," he whispered almost to himself. "It just got out of control." "Got out of control," I repeated bitterly. "You think this just happened? You made a choice, 1,000 choices to betray me, to destroy everything we built. Why, Liam, was I not enough for you?" He looked up, guilt etched into his features. "It wasn't about you. It never was." He broke off, struggling to find the words. "I got caught up. It was exciting. No, I didn't think." "That's right. You didn't think I snapped. Not about me, not about us, not about the vows we took. You wanted excitement, and you didn't care who you hurt to get it." He reached out, desperation in his eyes. "I love you. I never stopped loving you." My laugh was bitter, almost hysterical. "You don't destroy someone you love," I shot back. "You don't break them just to feel alive again." Silence filled the room, heavy and suffocating. He wiped his face, looking more broken than I'd ever seen him. But I couldn't bring myself to feel sorry for him. Not after what he'd done. My heart ached, torn between love and betrayal. But I knew one thing for certain. I couldn't pretend this never happened. I couldn't go back to the woman who trusted him with everything she had. With a trembling breath, I turned away, heading for the bedroom. As I passed him, I whispered the one thing I never thought I'd say. "You shattered us, Liam, and I don't know if I'll ever be whole again." Liam's voice broke through the suffocating silence. "Please just listen to me." He pleaded, his voice fragile and desperate. I paused, my back turned to him, not willing to face the man I thought I knew. "Listen to what Liam—" I snapped, spinning around to meet his gaze. "More excuses? More lies. Do you think words can undo this?" His eyes glistened with tears, and for a split second I felt a pang of sympathy, but it vanished just as quickly, replaced by a surge of anger. How dare he cry when it was my heart he had crushed? "I never wanted to hurt you," he whispered, his hands trembling as he wiped his face. I didn't know how to stop. It was like being caught in a storm, and I couldn't find my way back to you. "A storm," I scoffed. "You weren't caught, Liam. You chased it. You didn't just stumble into someone else's arms. You chose to be there. Don't act like this was some accident." He buried his face in his hands, his shoulders shaking. My anger simmered as I watched him break down, but I couldn't afford to feel sympathy. Not after the betrayal. Not after the humiliation. "How long," I demanded, my voice harsher than I intended. "How long have you been living this double life?" He hesitated, swallowing hard. "Almost a year," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. A sharp, bitter laugh escaped me, echoing around the room like a broken melody. "A year," I repeated, shaking my head. "You've been lying to me for a year, Liam, and I was too blind to see it, too trusting, too stupid." "No." He looked up, his face etched with guilt. "You're not stupid. You're incredible. You're the best thing that ever happened to me, and I threw it all away. I know that." "Then why?" My voice cracked, and I hated the vulnerability that seeped through. "If I was so good to you, if I was your everything, why wasn't I enough? Why did you need someone else to feel alive?" He hesitated, guilt mixing with regret. "I don't know. Maybe it was the thrill, the feeling of being someone else, someone reckless, carefree. You deserved stability and security, and I wasn't that man. I became someone I didn't recognize just to escape the pressure of being perfect for you. Perfect for me," I repeated, my hands trembling with disbelief. "All I wanted was honesty, loyalty, and love. I never asked for perfection. I wanted you, Liam, the man I fell in love with, the one who promised me the world and made me believe I was his everything." He pressed his lips together, his jaw clenching. "I know I don't deserve forgiveness. I know I've ruined everything, but I swear I never wanted to lose you." My chest tightened as I fought back tears. "You already lost me," I whispered, my voice breaking. "The moment you chose her over us, you lost me, and you didn't even notice." His face contorted with pain, and he dropped to his knees, clutching my hand desperately. "Please don't leave me," he begged. "I can't live without you. I'll do anything to make it right." I pulled my hand free, stepping back as the weight of his words crushed me. I wanted to believe him, to cling to the hope that somehow we could fix this. But reality was merciless, reminding me that trust, once shattered, could never be fully mended. "You broke me, Liam," I whispered, wiping my cheeks. "You broke us, and I don't know how to come back from that." He sobbed openly, his raw agony filling the room. I wished I could comfort him, but how could I soothe the pain he inflicted on me? How could I offer solace when my own heart was bleeding? Just then my phone vibrated again. Another message. My hands trembled as I picked it up, dreading what I might see next. The message was from an unknown number, but the word sent a chill down my spine. "You deserve to know the truth. Meet me at the Lantern Cafe tomorrow at 3:00 p.m. alone." I glanced at Liam's suspicion gnawing at me. He noticed my expression and frowned. "What is it?" "Nothing." I lied, tucking the phone into my pocket. I couldn't let him see the message. I needed answers, and I wasn't going to get them from him. Whoever sent that text knew something crucial, and I couldn't afford to ignore it. I straightened up, wiping the remnants of tears from my face. "I'm going to bed," I announced coldly. "Sleep on the couch." He looked wounded, but I didn't care. Without another word, I walked to the bedroom and shut the door behind me, my mind racing. Who sent that message? Was it her or someone else who knew the truth? I barely slept that night, my thoughts tumbling in chaotic circles. Morning light seeped through the curtains, but it did little to brighten my mood. I waited for Liam to leave for work before grabbing my coat and heading out. The Lantern Cafe was quiet, just a few patrons scattered around. I took a seat near the window, my heart pounding as I waited. 10 minutes passed before a woman approached, her face pale and eyes red-rimmed. She looked nervous, almost hesitant as she sat down across from me. "Are you the one who sent the message?" I asked, my tone cautious. She nodded, her hands shaking. "I'm Claire. I'm the one who's been seeing your husband." My stomach twisted, but I forced myself to stay composed. "Why are you telling me this now?" Tears filled her eyes. "Because I didn't know he was married, not until last night. He always said he was single, free to be with me. I found out the truth when someone sent me a picture of you two together. I confronted him, and he broke down. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to be a part of this." Her confession hit me like a punch to the gut. All this time he wasn't just betraying me. He was lying to her, too. My mind reeled, trying to process it all. Claire continued, wiping her cheeks. "I ended it with him last night. I didn't know he was hurting someone else. I thought you should know. I never wanted to ruin your life." I took a deep breath, the knot in my chest loosening just a bit. "Thank you for telling me. It wasn't your fault. He deceived both of us." She nodded, her eyes glistening with regret. "I'll never forgive myself for this, but I had to come clean. You deserved the truth." We sat in silence for a moment, two strangers bound by shared betrayal. Despite the hurt, I felt a strange sense of closure. Claire wasn't my enemy. Liam was the one who broke both our hearts. As I left the cafe, the weight on my shoulders felt a little lighter. I wasn't sure what my next step would be, but one thing was clear. I wouldn't let his lies define me. I was stronger than that, stronger than his betrayal. And for the first time, I felt a spark of hope that I could rebuild piece by piece and reclaim the life he tried to destroy. I sat on the edge of the bed, my hands trembling as I clutched my phone. The text message glared back at me like a cruel, unblinking eye. My heart pounded, thudding so loudly I thought it might burst. One message, one photo, one devastating truth. The image was burned into my memory. A picture of Liam, my husband, with another woman, his arm wrapped around her waist, their faces inches apart, caught in a candid, intimate moment. My brain struggled to process it, to make sense of what my eyes had just seen. It couldn't be true. Liam, the man I had spent a decade of my life with, the man who promised to love me till the end of time, couldn't be that man, the one in that photo. I took a shaky breath, fighting back tears that threatened to spill over. I wanted to scream, to smash the phone against the wall, to erase the image from existence. But reality was unforgiving. It clung to me, suffocating and relentless. The door creaked open and Liam stepped inside, a warm smile on his face. He dropped his keys on the console and glanced at me, his expression faltering when he saw my face. "What's wrong?" he asked, concerned, lacing his voice. I swallowed the lump in my throat and forced myself to meet his eyes. "Who is she?" I whispered, holding up the phone. His face drained of color, and I knew without him saying a word that it was true. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. Panic flashed across his face, followed by something akin to regret. "It's not what you think," he mumbled, stepping closer. "Don't," I snapped, holding up my hand to stop him. "Don't you dare lie to me, Liam. I've seen the picture. I know." He hesitated, raking his fingers through his hair, trying to formulate a response. I could see the wheels turning in his mind, searching for the right words, the ones that would make me doubt what I saw. "Who is she?" I repeated, my voice trembling but firmer this time. He took a deep breath, his eyes brimming with guilt. "Her name is Claire," he admitted, his tone low and defeated. She's someone I met a few months ago." My heart shattered, and I felt as if the ground had opened beneath me. Months. This wasn't a fleeting mistake. It was something deeper, something deliberate. I couldn't stop the tears anymore. They spilled down my cheeks, hot and bitter, burning like acid. "How long?" I croaked. 6 months, he replied, his voice almost too soft to hear. 6 months. Half a year of secrets, lies, and betrayal. I thought back to the times he came home late, smelling faintly of perfume, his phone glued to his hand. "How had I been so blind? I can't believe you did this to me," I whispered, my voice cracking. "You lied to my face. You made me feel safe while you tore our life apart behind my back." He reached for me, but I recoiled, stepping out of his reach. "Don't touch me!" I spat, my anger bubbling to the surface. "You don't get to comfort me. Not after this." His face crumpled with anguish, and he looked helpless, lost. "I never meant for it to happen," he whispered. It got out of hand. I didn't know how to stop." "You didn't know how to stop," I repeated incredulously. "You didn't know how to stop betraying your wife. You didn't know how to stop sneaking around lying to my face every single day. How pathetic is that?" His shoulders slumped. Guilt etched into every line of his face. "I never wanted to hurt you," he pleaded. "You didn't just hurt me, Liam. You destroyed me." I whispered, my voice cracking. "You made me question every single moment we shared, every promise, every kiss, every 'I love you.' Was any of it real?" He didn't answer. And that silence was louder than any confession. I felt my chest tighten, my stomach twisting into painful knots. My mind screamed at me to leave, to pack a bag and run as far as I could. But my heart, it was still trapped in the memories and the love we had built over years. I clenched my fists, willing myself to be strong. "Why?" I asked again, needing to understand. "Why wasn't I enough?" He shook his head, tears welling up in his eyes. "It wasn't about you," he choked out. "It was my own weakness, my own stupidity. I felt trapped, like I wasn't living. I was scared of becoming boring, of losing myself." His excuses twisted the knife deeper, and I wanted to scream. "So your solution was to throw away everything we built to betray the one person who loved you unconditionally. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness," he said, his voice thick with emotion, "but I'm begging you, please don't leave me. I can't lose you." I wanted to believe him, to cling to the fragments of our life and pretend we could fix this, but I knew better. You can't unbreak a shattered heart. You can't pretend the betrayal didn't leave a scar that would never fully heal. My voice was barely above a whisper when I spoke. "You already lost me, Liam. The moment you chose her, you lost me." I saw his face crumble, and for a brief, fleeting moment I almost pitied him, but pity wasn't enough to mend the damage he'd done. Without another word, I turned away, wiping my tears as I moved to the bedroom. Our bedroom. The place that once felt safe now felt tainted. I knew I needed space to think, to breathe, to figure out how to rebuild without him. Liam remained frozen in the hallway, guilt and regret pooling around him like shadows. I didn't look back as I shut the door, leaning against it as the weight of the truth settled on me. My mind buzzed with unanswered questions, but one thought cut through the chaos. How did I let it come to this? The days that followed were a blur of silence, strained conversations, and moments of unbearable tension. I spent hours alone grappling with the weight of Liam's betrayal, while he stayed in the background, desperately trying to earn my forgiveness. But how could I forgive him? How could I unsee the image of his betrayal, the hurt that would forever stain our love? I moved out of our shared bedroom, taking refuge in the guest room, my space now a quiet sanctuary of grief and reflection. Liam made attempts to talk, to explain, but each word from him only drove the knife deeper. The trust we once had was gone, lost in the space between the lies. One evening, after a particularly painful conversation, I realized I was no longer angry. I was numb. The rage that had once consumed me gave way to a quiet resignation. I had to make a choice: to stay and pretend everything could be fixed, or to walk away and rebuild my life. No longer defined by his actions, I chose the latter. The divorce was painful, but it was necessary. It took months, many sleepless nights, countless tears, and a lot of heartache. But as I signed the papers, I felt a sense of liberation. I was finally free. Not from him, but from the version of me that had been willing to accept less than I deserved. And for the first time in a long while, I could breathe. And now that you've heard it all, what would you have done? Some say I should have seen the signs earlier. Others think I was too forgiving, or maybe not forgiving enough. But when your whole world collapses in a single night, logic goes out the window. Was I a fool for trusting too much, or strong for walking away when it mattered most? Here's the truth: sometimes love doesn't blind you, it reveals you. And maybe, just maybe, some secrets are meant to surface no matter how painful the truth. Tell me what you think. Was I right to expose him, or did I go too far? Follow me so I have the motivation to keep creating powerful videos like this, or just hit the #1 to send some love my way.